7. So we are here for discussing the important MCQs related to your accounting subject. So quickly let's start today's session. I hope everyone joined us. Okay, so before to start this session, hit the like button also on this video, and if you're new on the Officers Adda 24/7, hit the subscribe button and download the Adda 24/7 application. Okay, so quickly let's start today's session, and before to start I would like to say selection batch is still where you can enroll for our classes. Okay, and still 2 to 3 classes that actually has been done for accounting subject, is still 12 classes is pending. Okay, so you are just you can just enroll for this batch also, and you are going to get the mock test, ebooks, live classes, as well as the recorded classes for this batch. And you can understand if I say with this code Y422, you're going to get big discount over this batch. Okay, so grab this opportunity, like this is the last time when you can enroll for this fresh batch. Okay, so let's start today's session. So the very first question, if I say that is retiring a bill under rebate means. Okay, so what we understand by this, whenever we talk about the retiring a bill, you can understand when we talk about the bill of exchange. So there are three parties: drawer, drawee, and pay. This is the most important thing to understand. Okay, so when we talk about retiring a bill, you can understand like payment of the bill before the due date. Okay, so this is kind of the thing that we have to understand. What we understand by the retiring, that means when we are talking about making payment for the bill before the due date. Okay, so the correct option of this, that is option A, right? So retiring a bill under rebate means that is making a payment for the bill before the due date. That would be the correct answer for this question. Okay, I'm hoping that everyone just understanding this, right? Next question. Goods sold to Mr. X for 640 rupees was debited to his account as 460 rupees. In the rectifying entry, Mr. X account will be debited by what? The very first thing, whenever you are going to solve this kind of the questions, you have to understand that what components you have to keep under the debit side of the trial balance and under the credit side of the trial balance. Okay, so if I just say that on the debit side, you actually put you actually record all the assets, all the expenses, right? And on the credit side, you actually record all the liabilities, all the income and gains you actually record, right? So if I talk about goods sold to Mr. X, whenever we talking about the sold, that means this actually represent the sales of the company, and sales always generate the income for the company, right? So that's why where we should just record this, we should record on the credit side. But the what the question is written, look, question written goods sold to Mr. X. Okay, just tell me what would be the journal entry for that. Just try to understand when we say goods sold to Mr. X. Okay, that means if we have to prepare the journal entry for that, you will be just going to debit the Mr. X account. Just a minute. Okay, so you will debit the Mr. X account while you will credit the sales account, because sales generate the income, right? So if sales generate the income, and you can understand like due to nominal account category, credit the income and gains, right? So we just going to credit the sales account, and the Mr. X account is going to be debit in this situation. Okay, so the question is goods sold to Mr. X for 640 was debited to his account. Okay, so like we can understand the very first thing that is your Mr. X account would be debited while sales account would be credited. So whenever you are just going to the like solution of the like questions of the rectifications of the entry, the very first thing that always you have to do, the first prepare the correct entry. Okay, so if I say this is a debit side, this is a credit side, so there should be the Mr. X account and there should be the sales account. Okay, but the question is given that is goods sold to Mr. X for 640 was debited to his account, as 460. That means we have to debit the 640 rupees from the Mr. X account, but by mistake what we have done, we have just debit the 460 rupees only. Okay, this we actually have done, right? So now the in the rectifying entry, Mr. X account will be debited by how much amount you have to tell. Just tell me here that 640 you required on the debit side while you having the 460 only. So if I add here 180 rupees more, then you can understand, then we will get the Mr. X account will be debited by 640. This is we actually just going to be get, right? So the correct answer, that should be your 180 in this situation. That means debit more 180 rupees from the Mr. X account, and this is how you can just rectify this entry. Okay. I hope it is understandable for everyone. Always just prepare like in the whenever you are just going to solve the questions in the examination, always prepare the very first correct entry, that what correct entry should be, and after that what exactly wrong thing that you have done. Okay, then after that you will be the clear picture that what how you should just rectify this entry. Next question. Sales of the 10,000 rupees recorded as a 1,000. You know, whenever you are getting an error like the wrong error, okay, wrong amount of, like you actually posted the wrong amount. Whenever you are getting the error that is of the wrong amount, then you can understand there would always be a error of the what, error of the compensating, error of the principal, error of the omission, error of the commission. The correct answer, that is the error of the commission. Okay. That should be the correct answer. Whenever we talking about the error of the commission, you can understand that whenever you posted the wrong amount, okay, like you have to just record the 10,000, but by mistake you recorded the 1,000 rupees only. That means this is a case of the, this is the error of the commission. Okay, so that would be your correct answer for this question. Next question. Determine stock turnover ratio. If opening stock is given, closing stock is given, sales are given, and gross profit is 25% on the sales given. That you have to find out. Determine stock turnover ratio. The very first thing that you have to understand in the accounting, okay, if you ever find the term that is inventory, so you have to understand inventory and the stock both are the same thing. First thing, okay. So if I see inventory turnover ratio or the stock turnover ratio is what, that is cost of goods sold, and it would be divided by the average inventory. Now just understand a very important thing. If we have to find out the average inventory, then you are having the data of the opening stock as well as the closing stock. Okay, so that means if I have to find out the average inventory, that is a easy to just determine, but we have to find out the cost of goods sold also. Now you can understand there is a data given about the gross profit, and when we talk about the gross profit, the formula of the gross profit, that is what, that is the net sales minus cost of goods sold. Now just tell me, here it is given gross profit is a 25% on the sales. That means 25% of the sales, rather it is 25% of the sales, just understand this. Okay, so sales are given 3,20,000. So if the sales are given 3,20,000, okay, and gross profit is a 25% of that, that means we can say that the gross profit is a 80,000 is given, sales are given 3,20,000. Okay, and if I say that is cost of goods sold, if I have to find out the cost of goods sold, so then how we can just find out that. Okay, so this is how you have to write the gross profit here. That would be 80,000 is equal to 3,20,000 minus cost of goods sold. Now the value of the cost of goods sold, that would become your 2,40,000. Okay, right, fine. Okay everyone, right. Now we have to find out the value of the average inventory. So if I say value of the average inventory, that would be opening stock plus closing stock divided by the 2, that is 31,000 plus 29,000 and it would be divided by the 2, so this will become your 3, 2, 5 and 6, yani that is 30,000, right, 30,000. So now you only have to put the values here, that is 2,40,000 divide by the 30,000. Okay, sorry, 30,000, right? So this will be cancelled out and your answer will be the 8 times. That would be your correct answer. Okay, so this is how you have to calculate the questions. The very important thing, you have to understand that how to find out the gross profit. The very first thing, what is the formula of the gross profit, and the gross profit is actually given the 25% of the sales. That means sales are given 3,20,000. That means you can understand the gross profit is a 25% of that. That means 80,000. Okay, and from that we actually find out the cost of goods sold. This is how we have to solve the questions. Next question. Goods of the 1,000 rupees taken by the proprietor for the personal use. whenever we talking about the owner, because the one question definitely you will get in the examination based on that, just try to understand whenever we are talking about the owner and owner's firm. Okay, and suppose a owner actually just withdrawn the like goods of the 1000 rupees. So when we talk about if the owner withdraws the goods of the 1000 rupees, that means there would be very first account would be introduced, that is drawing account, and this account would be used whether the owner is withdrawing the goods or the money, okay, for its personal use. So whenever you are getting the term that is proprietor or the owner for the personal use, that means there would be introduction of the one account, definitely that would be the drawing account. So drawing account will be debited in this case. Now the if the amount is withdrawn, then you will just include the cash account. If the goods are withdrawn, then you will add the purchase account. So purchase account is going to be credited, because you can understand there would be reduction in the purchases, whatever the purchases has been just written or recorded into the book of account of the firm, that would be reduced. Okay, so the correct answer of this, that would be the purchase account, right? The next question. On purchase of the old furniture, the amount of the 1000 rupees spent on its repairs should be debited to what? That is furniture account, repair account, cash account, what? Okay, this is a good question. When we talk about on purchase of the old furniture, suppose that look, when we talk about the purchasing, that may be like new or old, that depends on like what kind of the purchases you have done. But you can understand, if we talking about the total cost of the asset, if we're talking about the total cost of the asset, then it included all the expenses incurred on that, okay, for installing, right? So when we talk about till installation, whatever the expenses incurred on that, that you all included in the total cost of the asset. So when we talk about on purchase of the old furniture, the amount of the 1000 rupees is spent on its repairs, then it would be debited to which account? Then your answer should be the furniture account, not the repair account. Okay, repair, you can understand, suppose that you are just making the expenses for the maintenance of your furniture, like old furniture, but here you purchase that. Okay, so you purchasing the old furniture, so for that you are just you actually purchase the new asset, okay, for your company. Either it is old furniture, but you purchases a new asset for your company. Okay, so whatever the expenses incurred on that, that would considered as a installation or the other expenses cost for your asset. So here the correct answer, that would be the furniture account. Okay, all right. Next question. A computer is purchased for the 50,000 rupees and its residual value is a 2,000. What will be the amount of the profit or loss if the computer is sold for 35,000 at the end of the second year? This is a very important question. Okay, look, whenever you are finding the question of the sum of year digit method, the very first thing that you have to understand what the useful life is given. Suppose that in this there is some typing mistake in this, just add here that is a useful life of the machine, that is 5 years. Okay, there will be some typing mistake, so there will be no introduce of useful life. Okay, so the very first thing that here the useful life is given the 5 years. Okay, right? So now we have to solve the questions based on the sum of your digit method. So we will just write here that is 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, and now what will be the value of this? You will get here that is 15. Okay, right? So this is a part of the question. Okay, just don't think that I added here. No, this is a part of that. I think it is some mistake in the typing. Okay, so you can understand 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, that is equal to the 15. Now if the computer is sold for the 35,000 rupees at the end of the second year, so you can understand this is the second year. Like first year depreciation, this is second year depreciation, this is third year depreciation, this is the fourth year, and this is the fifth year depreciation. Okay, So suppose that we have to calculate the depreciation, like the depreciation amount. So we will say that for the second year, that would be equal to the 4 by 15 multiplied by your total cost of the asset, that is a 50,000 is given, residual value that is 2,000 given, that's just right here. So you will get 4 by 15 multiplied by the 48,000, right? Then this will become 3,200, right? 12,800. So this is the depreciation amount for the second year, right? This is the depreciation amount for the second year, that is 12,800. Now if I just subtract from the total cost of the machine, so you will be get here, that is 37,200, right? That value you will get, that is 37,200. That means value of the computer, value of the computer after second year, that would be equal to the 37,200 as per the book of account of the company. Okay, but you sold it for the 35,000. So now just tell me the current value of the computer of your company, that is 37,200, but you sold for the 35,000 only. That means there is a loss of the 2,200. The correct answer of this, that is second part. Okay, right? So here you can understand your real value of the computer, that is 37,200, while your selling of the 35,000. So if we just write here, that is sale minus purchase cost, that is 37,200. So this would become the 2,200 or minus 2,200. This is considered as a loss for the company. Okay, right? Next, trial balance might match in spite of the presence of which kind of the error. This is a very important question. Whenever we say that is trial balance might match in spite of the presence of which kind of the error, the correct answer, just understand here, whenever we are look, this question means that when we talk about the trial balance, all debit balance should be equal to the credit balance. Remember, we are talking about the balances, we are talking about the amounts balances. So debit balance should equal to the credit balance. Okay, right? So suppose that there is an error of the complete omission. Complete omission is a case where you can understand you forget to record the transactions on the both sides, like on the debit side as well as on the credit side. So you can understand it will not impact on the debit and the credit balance because you actually done the mistakes on the both side equally. Okay, so this is known as a complete omission case, right? When we talk about the error of the principal, that means you have to you error of the principal is all about that we can understand when you just record the transaction into the wrong account but not the wrong side. You are talking about you actually just recorded the transaction into the wrong account. Okay, you have to record the revenue, but you recorded the what, you recorded the income, that okay, you recorded the expenses for that. So you can understand error of the principal is all about the wrong account, when you just posted the transaction into the wrong account. So error of the principal, suppose that you have to debit the machinery account, but by mistake you debit the repair account. Okay, so that means this is kind of the error of the principal. So that is the case. So that means in this case also your debit and credit balance would not mismatch. So the correct answer of this, that is error of the complete omission or error of the principal. That is the correct answer for this question. Okay, right? In the partial omission, if I say that, suppose that you just recorded the one side of the transaction, like the you recorded the debit side, but by mistake you forget to record the credit side, or you recorded the credit side and by mistake you forget to record the debit side. In this situation, your debit balance will not be equal to your credit balance. So that's why the correct answer, that is error of the complete omission, error of the principal, right? Next question. When a company issues shares at a premium, the amount of the premium should be received by the company, like the options are given. The correct option, that when we talk about the money, okay, that means company issue shares. So that depends on the company can just called up this premium through the application money, through the allotment, through the first call, through the second call, okay. Like this depends on the company. So the correct answer, that along with any of the above, okay. So when we talk about the application, when we talk about the your allotment, when we talk about the your call, like after allotment, whatever the installment we are talking about, that just numbered as a call, okay. So first call, second call, okay. So this is you have to understand. So company can company can call like premium with along with any kind of the money that is given, right? So that is the correct answer for this, that is along with any of the above. Which item shows a debit balance of the trial balance? Now again you have to understand, that is a very important to understand which item shows a debit balance. So whenever we're talking about the debit balance, you are just looking for the assets as well as the expenses for the company. Now just look here, when we talk about the purchase return, that means this is just showing the some kind of the gain for the company, because for the purchase return, some company is going to receive fund based on that, okay. Now what we understand by the purchase return, suppose that we are on the buyer side, okay, and we actually purchase some goods from the seller. So suppose that some goods we just did not like, so we just return back to the supplier. So that you can understand, suppose that we having the purchase of the 1000 rupees and we return back the products of the 200 rupees. So you can understand, we having the net purchasing of the 800, okay. So that will actually going to include in our gains, okay. So that's why you can just relate it to the gains, right? So purchase return, that is just going to be record into the side of the credit. I'm just talking about the like how you can just learn that, how you can just understand that, okay. This is not the rule that the purchase return is a kind of the gain, no. Purchase return, you can understand it like this, right? Salary outstanding, again it is not your asset and expenses, there is nothing. Sales, this is just generate the revenue income for the company. Prepaid expenses, when we talk about the expenses you already paid, so prepaid expenses always considered as an assets for the company, okay. And salary outstanding you can understand as a liability for the company, okay. Salary outstanding is a liability for the company that company have to pay, and liability we actually record on the credit side. We are talking about the s like debit side. So that's why prepaid expenses, those expenses that may due in the next financial year, but you already paid that, that means this is considered as a prepaid expenses. And prepaid expenses always considered as an asset for the company. So the correct answer for this question, that would be the prepaid expenses, okay. So I hope you all are learned some concept from this session, okay. So thank you everyone for joining me here, and like this video if you're liking our effort, liking our content, okay. And you may find the bilingual as well as the English medium courses of the JIB, so you can enroll in that. Just remember that you have to use the code, that is Y422, for getting the discount of the 77%, okay. As well as if I say that the because now you are at the final stage of your preparation, so test pack is the most important thing, okay, because it gives a final test to preparation and you can understand in which areas you still have to work on, you still have to prepare for, okay. So you have to use the code, that is Y422, or you can also use the code Y422 and add after the S, okay. So you may get the discount of the 17%. This is also very important thing you can just getting here, right? So thank you everyone for watching me here, and like this video if you're liking our effort, liking our content, and share this video to your friends so that maximum number of our bankers can join us like in these kind of the sessions.